Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast, the only thing that's real in your sad, pathetic life. Oh, coming in hot on this one. I like it. Today on the show we got Vince Barry. I've been waiting a little while to put out this episode. I don't know why. Might have to do with the fact that it was a good conversation for one thing. I also am trying to include a song in the episode. Did you guys know this guy was an opera singer? He's an opera. He's not only a comedian, a filmographer kind of guy. I don't know if he's a filmographer. He films comedy sets. This is going to be a good episode. So stay tuned for a moment. Let me give you a little ad read first. You've probably heard a lot about cannabinol, or CBD, but have you heard about the plant science company taking the lead in providing highest quality CBD nationwide? At your CBD store, Simsbury, you will find a fantastic staff that creates a comfortable environment where you can get the questions answered and find the right products to get the relief you need. They will be your number one source for providing quality education about products for you and your pet. They offer a full line of edibles, creams, USDA certified oils, and more, all developed under the guidance of their PhD analytical chemists and health leaders across the industry. And to back up their story, they also provide extensive third-party testing to ensure that's what's on the products is actually in the products. They are located at 1243 Hot Meadows Street in Simsbury and open 7 days a week. Give them a call at 860-217-1433 or visit their website at ycbdsimsbury.com or stop in for free samples and the highest quality products you can find. Your CBD store, Simsbury, where good health hits home. So, a lot going on, folks. A lot going on. I just filmed a comedy special for TV, and I'm working on it. I'm finally in the post-production of something that's bigger. It's not like one of the little stand-up videos I make, and I could just put it out raw like that. Now I'm working with 3 cameras and really trying to do the real thing here, folks. All at the same time, I'm drowning in debt. So, we're trying to make this successful. We're trying to make this a successful thing. But first, I want you to enjoy this promo Vince Barry made for me hosting the Hungry Tiger here in Manchester. We still do that the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. So enjoy this promo that he made and then enjoy our conversation because it was a good one.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
So support local businesses where everyone knows your name. Cheers.
Alrighty, welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. I'm sitting here today with my guest, Vince Barry.
I noticed you had to write my name down to make sure you pronounced it correctly. Thank you for having me.
You know what's funny? I was just gonna start writing some notes, but like we did this so spur of the moment. I was like, what can I talk to about Vince Barry? All I did was write down your name. Yeah,
That's all right. I'm sure we'll think of something, right?
Yeah. You're wearing what's the deal with this Batman T-shirt you're wearing? First of all,
I think I bought it at a Hot Topic when I was maybe a freshman in college. And it doesn't quite fit. It's almost like a crop top, but
Hot Topic, huh?
yeah, this is definitely a Hot Topic special.
You know what I always like? It's weird. It's like, because Hot Topic is like, the name of the store is like, it's like, it's supposed to be like fresh and new. But it's one of the only stores that virtually hasn't changed in years. It seems like everything else is changing in Hot Topic. It's always like, you're always going to find that Led Zeppelin 4 t-shirt there. You're always going to get a Motley Crue, a Rolling Stone
The Nirvana smiley face is always going to be there.
It stays consistently the same.
The only difference is now moms will go into the store. Back in the day, it was a little less friendly. So, like, parents would be like, "Oh, that's."
Well, moms go into the store because they're the ones that used to work there.
That's also true. God, I'm old.
But I don't know. It's like it's funny because it's like this, but it's like the personality type is still the same, like that miserable, like teenage, like Daria looking girl behind the counter. You know?
I was shocked. I went to Buckland before meeting you for this. I was in the mall and I saw a girl in, the style hasn't changed literally in 20 years. Black knee-high tights, black skirt, pink shirt, black sweater, heavy eye makeup, bad posture, leaning all the way over, looking miserable, just walking with her head down in the mall. I'm like, she could be from 1999. That's just the archetype hasn't changed.
You know what the conversation starter with the Hot Topic, the person behind the counter hot topic is? You just bring up Alice Cooper. If you bring up, you'll always have an all right conversation. You bring up, they told me that one of them told me in there. Well, last time I was in there that there's an Alice Cooper Funko Pop.
Yes. I think I have. There are actually two, and I think I have one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I bought one. It was on a clearance rack, but it ended up being full price. And they're like, I felt bad at first because I was like, oh, poor Alice Cooper's on the clearance rack. But then I was like, okay.
I feel like I can gauge your personality by your Funko Pops, and I feel like this is a new thing I want to. This is a new thing I want to do with guests. It's like, what Funko Pops do you have at home?
I thank you for the layup here. If you go to my YouTube channel at OSnapVince,
you're like, I do unboxings of Funko Pop.
I have a little playlist called The Prince of Pop where I go through some Funko Pop unboxings. Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to venture to say near 1,000 of those goddamn things.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got a whole army of them.
Yeah, if this is a
You remember what the first one you bought was?
Yeah, it was a Batman, funny enough. You mentioned with the t-shirt.
So Seinfeld's got Superman, you got Batman.
I go DC because, and I'm not going to take my whole shirt off, but I got the Superman tattoo.
The Superman logo.
Yeah, so it always bugged me that Marvel's movies were better than DC.
I got a new joke I do on stage about Superman, the Superman logo tattoo. Have you heard it?
Oh no, what is it?
Where I say that you got to be careful where you get the Superman logo tattooed because you get if you have stretch marks in that area, it's gonna look like a death of Superman pretty quickly.
Yes. Boy, if nobody read that comic back in 1994, they'd be really confused, right?
Well, that joke is certainly just for. But you
whittle it down to
the superhero jokes you have. They gotta cater to that audience.
Yeah, they can't be. The broad ones will get like, oh, Fat Thor, hee hee. Like you'll get everybody. But yeah, if you want to go down to the comic nerd, you got to really.
I mean, are you really a comic book nerd? If you didn't buy one of those Superman, like you got the one that you read, and then you had the one that was still in the bag.
Oh my God, yeah. So that's funny you mentioned it. Death of Superman. Definitely had a reader and a saved one. Superman's Wedding. I have one that was. It's still in the white. It was like a white mylar plastic kind of really nice, like filigree or whatever. It looked like a wedding invitation almost, still sealed up too. So I definitely keep. I have keepers and readers, and the pops stay in the box for the most part. It's. Unfortunately I'm a collector because I have Pokemon cards and Power Ranger figures and all just crap, just junk and junk.
You're kind of like I would describe you as a mall thug.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really a mall rat growing up, but yeah, no, I certainly spent a lot of time there now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I used to have a friend that worked at one of the coffee shops, and
Which mall?
in West Farms Mall, it was a Gloria Jeans Coffee, I think it was. So he would be sitting there making coffee, and I started this, and a bunch of
You
us
gotta have a
picked up.
friend at a Gloria
Yes.
Jeans because the coffee's too expensive otherwise.
I never paid for a cup of coffee at Gloria Jeans, but I just walk by, and he never know when it was going to happen. But I just walk by, and I go, Tim Rooney! And then I just keep walking. And then Tim, whatever Tim was doing, he'd like shake the cup and look, oh, he's like, he got me again. So then it just became a couple of us that during high school, whenever we went to the mall, there would just be a group of us walking by Gloria Jean, Tim Rooney, and just, like ding-dong ditching. This is the least interesting thing I did.
So in a way, you made the guy popular.
I certainly gave him a little catchphrase, even if it was his own name. Yeah.
You kind of remind me of Jason Lee's character in Mallrats there.
I used to get Randall from Clerks.
Yeah?
I think it was just the voice. I don't know.
I think I really identified with Randall. Like, the Clerks is one of my favorite movies.
Ooh, Navy SEALs.
Yeah. Anyways, let's digress from all the pop culture for a minute.
Sure.
We'll talk about you. You got a show tonight?
Yes. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but today's February 20th. We're doing the Shish Lounge, 7 p.m. Andre Kim is on. Chris Clark is on. Joe Mahoney, Nick Cara.
Chris Clark's going to be there?
Yeah.
I didn't see him on the poster.
He was a surprise guest spot.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got some heavy hitters.
We're ruining the surprise, but it's a pre-recorded podcast, so no one's gonna.
He was a surprise last night too. So,
yeah, that's great.
So, only half the surprise is ruined. So he dropped it. It was the night of drop-ins last night because there was just snow and shitty weather, and it was like we had 4 guest spots just coming in.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Andre's a killer. I made several jokes during the middle of my set that implied I wanted to be on his podcast.
Okay.
To try and get me on In Godfrey We Trust, because I figured,
And it didn't come off desperate at all.
No, because I even said, because there were 2 girls in the back, and they were talking the whole time, like talking back to the comics. I said, if any of you chatty broads want to bring up to Andre that I want to be on his podcast, just yell it out in the middle of his set. And that was right before I introduced him. Yeah, not desperate at all, but it's fun. This Shish Lounge, it's a little different than the Elbow Room. We're not recording.
I was there with you the day we moved the stuff all over from the Elbow Room over there.
Well, correction, you being the Hodor of the group, like strapped all that shit to your back and like got it in the door. Like that shit was so heavy.
I'm basically the CT Comics donkey.
The Boro. Yeah, it was just a situation of, first of all, listen, I'm not going to say anything bad about Paul, he's a nice guy, but what the fuck was he thinking getting a 200-pound subwoofer? Like, that thing could power a concert at Vegan Sun. We don't need that subwoofer to...
Go big or go home, though.
Yeah, he invested in an interface there, and it works for him, but goddamn, that's a legit heavy piece of it.
Yeah. I feel like if I were to ever run shows with my own equipment, I would kind of lean more towards the speakers that they use in when they have trivia shows at bars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing to do. I mean, my current DJ setup, which you can hire me to DJ your wedding and all that shit, of course. That's what I've done. Karaoke nights and trivia night. I've done all the shitty entertainment stuff. Ring announcer for pro wrestling for like 12 years. Like I've done it all. So the audio setup.
You're not the first ring announcer I've had on the show.
Oh, really? Who else is that?
I feel like AJ Strangebrew. You know him?
Don't know the name, but I might know the face.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I feel like my voice and personality kind of attracts that kind of guest.
It's a.
This is the ring announcer podcast.
1,000 ring announcers instead of 1,000 comedians. Yeah, you could do that. Well, no, there's really only about 50.
I could see you being the guy that announces the next stripper at a strip club.
I've never done it at a strip club, but I have done it at a bachelor party.
Yeah.
And that was fun because the girls who were dancing told me afterward that they're concerned when there's a DJ that's hired that doesn't work at strip clubs because apparently they play the wrong music.
Right.
Which I don't know how you could do. I just Googled best strip club songs and looked at a bunch of lists and put together,
You know what it is? The ones that you searched. You're playing songs that are old hat. You got to be newest of the new when you're doing the strip club music, because if you play the old shit, the strippers associate whatever song that is with a bad experience. So you got to be the newest of the new I don't know why I feel like an authority on this subject.
I was gonna say,
of a sudden,
I see a radiator over here, and I don't see a stripper cuffed to it. So I don't know how you have all this this knowledge, but. No, it was interesting because I started, the classic pour some sugar on me, which got people going, because that's how could you not like that? Pour some sugar on me while stripping. Girls, girls, girls. Pony by Genuine is always a favorite, so that's when things got a little dirty. And then of course there's a song called Porn Star Dancing, which is pretty self-explanatory.
You know who's got really weird videos, but I've just kind of been turned on to his music? I don't know if you've heard of this guy yet, but I feel like his music would be great in a strip club. Oliver Tree. Have you heard of this guy yet?
I think I've heard the name, but I don't think I've heard any of his music.
His look is like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, but also like he's got this weird bowl cut thing going on. But his songs are like... Actually, like, it's weird. It's a total goofball in the videos, but his songs are like, these are some decent fucking hip-hop songs.
Oh, wow, when he's doing hip-hop. Okay. Yeah, that's something that happens a lot with hip-hop, is like they can go one way with their fashion, and then if they go the complete other way with the music, it works out.
Yeah.
Man, I'm a big music lover, I guess. It's such a cheesy thing to say, but like I went to the Hart School of Music, for opera, but I still, I didn't like...
Opera? You're a singer?
Yeah, so I'm a classically trained opera singer, but I sing, I was in a band, I was in like a rock band, I was never...
No way!
Yeah. So, I trained with a opera singer who had like traveled the world, and he was like a really renowned tenor, and I trained with him like for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
He's since passed on, Jerry Pruitt, but he was great, but it was never... the Hart School only offered classical stuff and jazz, and I don't know if they've changed the program since then. I always wanted to do more pop music, but it wasn't offered. But I got a scholarship. I was going to the Hart School. I didn't give a shit. I was still learning. It just didn't happen to be.
So you're that good of a singer? You got a scholarship for singing opera?
Oh yeah.
My God, man.
Yeah, I know. And then I really should be doing something other than sitting in someone's kitchen recording a podcast. But I mean, I've gone through all. I was the opera singer. Then I did. I was in an a cappella group. I was in a band and we recorded an album. I was a ring announcer for 12 or 13 years. I've been doing comedy for a little while now. I'm just trying to, find something that sticks.
But from the way your stand-up is, like, I would have never guessed that you were an opera singer. You have a kind of a portrait of what's the name of the clown from the opera?
Pagliacci.
Pagliacci.
Yeah.
The portrait of a sad clown kind of thing.
Yes, no, that is definitely it. For those of you who don't know the old joke, one guy goes into the barber shop and he's getting his hair cut. He says, "I'm very sad. I need to cheer up." And the barber says, "Well, why don't you go see the opera today? It's Pagliacci." And the guy goes, "But sir, I am Pagliacci." That's not really, it's lost in translation over 200 years of a joke, but that's like the... It's
I feel like I'm listening to fucking like Hemingway.
Hey, we're listening to Norm Macdonald over here.
And
you ever hear this
I can
joke?
totally see Norm Macdonald telling that joke.
There's this new thing called the Hindenburg. I don't know if it's gonna take off.
That's great though. But so I really appreciate that joke though. I'm glad that I feel like it needed to be told. It's at least once on this podcast.
It's because that's like a history of jokes kind of thing. It's more of a written, like I've seen it written out, and it's a lot more eloquent than how I just stated it. But it's like the ending where he goes, "But I am Pagliacci," is like that's what's supposed to hit you. Like it's funny, but it's not. It's like it's the same thing as the sad clown. It's funny, but it's not funny.
You know what I've always wanted in this apartment? One of those paintings of like a clown kind of like wearing like one of those like corduroy jackets, like a sad looking clown, like reading the Wall Street Journal. Those are great, right?
Like on velvet or something, like painted on a velvet canvas. Right next to your Panther with the lightning bolts in the back of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that. Or next to your Welcome Back Kotter lunchbox. I appreciate that. There's every day.
You're not the first person to bring that up.
Listen, every day more and more people that know who Welcome Back Kotter is die due to coronavirus because they're old. So, like, there's only a few of us that actually know what Welcome Back Kotter is.
Right. I once sat next to an opera singer when I was on a plane, like, going to Italy.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I got to bring this up because you give off big, towny, English-Irish vibes, and yet I feel like you're actually Italian.
I am Italian.
Okay. I don't know where the Heath came from.
Heath, well, see...
That's like we're Barry. Like
my mother's side, full Italian,
mm-hmm.
where my father is half German, half Irish, but the name Heath originally comes from England.
Wow, that's like almost identical. Like my mom's fully Italian. My dad is half Irish, half Italian.
Yeah.
Which is why I get so angry on stage and yell at people. Sorry, Chris. I had to apologize publicly. If he's listening, I'm sorry, Chris Warren.
Can we actually talk about that?
Sure.
I'm not going to probe you.
Oh no,
I'm not going to probe. But
I'm
something.
an open book, sir.
Haley was my last guest, so I'm going to put out your episodes back to back.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
if you
awesome.
just want to clear the air on that real quick, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I won't get into specifics because I feel like once again that was a private issue that I made public, and it wasn't necessarily the wisest decision, but it's also not one. I don't want to say I don't look back at anything and say I regret doing it. And I don't mean that as an insult to him. I mean it as a performer and as somebody who had a personal conflict with somebody. You have to evolve the way you respond to them. So I don't regret it in the sense that it helped me to realize that I have anger issues that need to be taken care of. So just to pull back the curtain a little bit, and I won't get into specifics. A couple months ago, we were hanging out outside the Elbow Room. It was just a group of us. And I made some offhand comment to Chris because we were all sitting there busting each other's balls. This is what we do, comics sit up after a show and just bust balls. I didn't really think of anything of it because I was like just chopping it up with people, and he called me later that night and he was mad and he thought I was taking personal shots at him, and I was trying to assure him that I didn't. And really, that just should have been it. He should have just yelled at me, and I should have said, no, that's not what happened, and we should have just left it at that. Me, having just overthinking things. Like, when I live by myself. You live by yourself?
Of course I do.
Yeah. So you sit there, and you watch TV, you're playing video games, you're on your phone, or whatever, and there's just something that in the back of your mind that bugs you, and then all of a sudden it becomes a lot bigger of an issue than it should have been because you're like, wow, you just should have said something and fucking squashed this a while ago.
But I at the same time, I totally see where you're coming from and what happened with that, where it's if it's something in the back of your mind, and I totally see you're just thinking, I'm gonna get on stage, I'm just gonna make a joke about this because that's what I
wanted it to be funny.
Do,
And the more I went, it was more mean than it was funny. Although Rex, when I said I'm going to call him out on this podcast, Rex Caesar, when I said that if Chris gets me angry, it'll be like suicide by WAP, Rex laughed. So that was my takeaway was out of all of that terrible 5 minutes, I got one good line.
And now Rex is all of a sudden in the hot seat.
No,
just for doing what he always does.
Yeah, just
laugh at things.
Yeah, just encouraging the chaos. No. So I shouldn't I don't know. I wrote a few things down, and I was like, okay, I'll just tell a couple things and then go into my set. And then I just got too deep into it. Mm-hmm. May or may not have called Chris a psychopath and a few other things, which I mean.
But I could totally see where you're coming from because I feel like people that don't perform don't get that. Sometimes you'll be you're sitting there with your notebook, you're like, I'm just gonna make a joke about this, and this. And then you go up and it comes out completely different than you had in your mind.
Yeah.
And then you sit back down and you go, wow, my words have power.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's actually a very true thing. So first of all, I don't want to take away anything from this, and make light of it if, our peers are listening to this, I don't want to start up any drama again. I have spoken with Chris. I have made peace with him, and I just
said actually is more about I'm projecting now. It's more about me than it is about you.
You're right, and words do have power, and I really, I kind of went over the top with it. I get it. But here was the thing. It should have just been as simple as this. Me and Chris should have had the conversation when everybody was cool, because he called me when he was angry, and then, I went up on stage when I was angry, so nothing got accomplished. If we had a conversation privately, which I intend to do, it was really just to say, this was a misunderstanding. It started with me cracking some jokes, and you took it personally.
All right, we don't need to dig into it any deeper.
Right, but basically what I'm saying is, he took it personally, which intent versus impact. Patrice O'Neill, if you look that up, he says the intent versus the impact of a joke. Anyway, he took it personally, and then we had a disagreement over the phone. That should have been it. I kind of continued it onto the stage, whereas I just should have had another private conversation with him. Say, listen, this is all started with a misunderstanding where you thought I was taking shots at you personally, and I wasn't. And once that got in my head that he still thought that I was taking shots at him, then I was like, the fucking Irish and Italian temper came out. I'm like, well, if this guy thought I was saying, I was like, I'll really take some, I can take shots if I'm going to take shots. And then I'm like, when you sit back and afterwards, you're like you said, it's like, it's almost like jerking off. You're in the moment, you're like, yeah, that was great. And then you come, and then you're like, wow, I just have a girl getting fucked by a donkey on my iPad screen.
I think you should show up at Chris's mic dressed as Pagliacci, like Crazy Joe Davola in that Seinfeld episode.
Or what's that guy, the sad clown that sings on Facebook? Puddles?
Oh, there's a clown that sings on Facebook?
Yeah, I think his name is Puddles. Puddles Pity Party is the name of his band. He's got a big, deep baritone voice, but he dresses like the classical Pagliacci with the hat and the outfit and everything.
You know what? That's a thought, though. Just bring a clown character to the stage that's also an opera singer.
I'm trying to, I don't want to step on Mo Green's toes, but I want to bring more singing into my act. I think I'm going to do something tonight.
What, you think just because he sings, you can't sing?
I just hate that it's the same shit that happens everywhere you go, where it's like you tell a joke and it's too similar to something someone else does, so you just don't do it to not have that discussion happen. But I would take a different tack with it. So I'm working on this.
Well, I don't mean to call out Alex Tomaselli on this because I was going to bring it up to him privately, but I might as well bring it up. There's a song he does about
Are we just going to fucking tank both of our careers on this podcast? Why not,
dude? But I'm just saying, there's a song he does about Rudolph, and I wrote a better version of that years ago, and I could confirm it.
Joke for a joke. Next Christmas. No, we do a Christmas show, you go joke for joke.
Well, he does this whole song about Michael Jackson being like Rudolph.
Yeah.
But my version has Joe Jackson in it going, Michael, go out there and pick that switch, or I'm gonna hit you like a bitch. My version was great. I'm just saying.
Hold on, I gotta back the bus up a little bit on this one, because it seems to me like somehow years apart, both of you came to the premise of Michael Jackson and the Rudolph song, which is not. I have to say that's nothing that I've ever equated together in my life. So for two people in the same state that kind of know each other to do a joke several years apart.
No, but I wrote that joke when I was in Florida.
But that's what I'm saying. This is insane to me that you guys would have such a parallel.
I really have. The reason I didn't bring it up to him the night that I heard him say it is just because I hadn't done that joke in years, and I'm like, if he wants the joke, he can have it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not like
he stole it. It's just parallel thinking.
Right? He's not Amy Schumer in your joke.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, if you defend Amy Schumer, she stole fucking jokes. Dane Cook stole fucking jokes. Carlos stole fucking jokes. I'm sorry. I will burn it. I'm nobody.
You're just ready to burn the world to the ground in this.
I don't like joke stealers, man. No.
I met you on a podcast. You remember that?
Really?
I met you on a podcast.
Holy shit! What podcast was this?
This was Brian and I forget his partner on the Arrested podcast. We were sitting outside the Tiger.
I've never because I've never met Brian Barganier in person
Really?
because he's still standing. So yeah, I've never met him in person.
You've never met Brian in person?
No, I've watched him bomb a couple times on YouTube and roast battles.
Vince, I apologize. I have you confused with somebody else.
I've never been to the Hungry Tiger. I don't know who that.
You've never been to the Hungry Tiger?
No.
Really?
I performed at the Reginald Kingsley several years ago. It was literally in the guy's basement, but it was a club.
All right, so let's just talk about getting kicked off of CT Comics.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, listen, we're the bad boys of comedy, obviously. Look at us. We're so fucking tough.
I mean, you're an opera singer, and I'm a fucking playwright.
According to the guy that kicked you out of the group, you're a substitute fucking teacher, which is like, I saw your face change, and that's not an insult, because that's like the ultimate Arrested Development thing of like, you're still 12 mentally. Oh, what are you, a substitute teacher? What do you have, a full-time job with benefits where you get to interact with children and enrich their lives and change subjects every day? Yes, motherfucker, he's a substitute teacher. It's an important fucking job.
Well, thank you. I actually appreciate that. When
I saw that pissed me off, because that's like, I don't come to your job and knock the dick out of your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, the fuck? Like, do you have, I don't know if this guy has a job. I don't know if he's just.
Let's give the audience of 1000 Comics some context here. Me and Vince were both kicked off of this group page, CT Comics.
Mo Green.
And JT Moore, I believe, was kicked off as well.
That's because JT took it to him. First of all, I love JT Moore. And I love Mo. I love you. Honestly, I'm not bullshitting. I like this community. It's a nice community that, every now and again you got to purge some bad apples. But no, it's a great.
But you know something, and I feel like I could finally open up about this, because Brian was extremely rude to me a few months back. Like, DM'd me like a few nasty things, like that I'm a loser.
What was it? What prompted him to say that to you?
Just because I told him the people that run the Hungry Tiger weren't happy with what he was doing with the mic.
Right.
And like, he instead of like hearing me out, he just started like throwing these childish like name calling.
So you approached him to let him know, hey, the Hungry Tiger isn't happy. Maybe some things need to be changed.
Yeah.
And he just kind of went back at you like that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I think we should have a little bit of a disclaimer here. I'm friends with a lot of comics, and a lot of comics are friends with Brian. I have heard from several people that he is or was at one point extremely funny, and that there may have been some personal things in his life where now he is no longer funny. I'm of the, kind of mind of comedy is a lot like pro wrestling. I was in the pro wrestling business a lot for over a decade. There's gimmicks and kayfabe and what's on stage in the ring and what's real life. Like, people have to realize this is a work. It's a business. It's not. There are personal feelings, but like, we got to run this shit like a business. You can't call someplace a redneck cesspool and the owners are assholes and nobody wears them. Like, what does that accomplish trying to build a business?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And all I tried to do when Brian was completely tearing me apart on that was just point out things that are like absurd to me. Like when he called the place a redneck cesspool, it's like, I commented like, do you really expect to keep a job at a place where you're calling it a redneck cesspool? That's insane to me.
And then he goes, you record your podcast in the basement of a dive bar, so when Elbow Room opens, not that he's been booked there anyway, but like, he's not going back to Elbow, he can't go to Shish, like he can do shows in his fucking backyard, him and his wife, as long as she gets the fucking shoe polish out. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm never gonna see these people, because like JT said, I'll see you guys at a show and then you'll like fucking get in the car and drive off. They're never going to say anything to my face, because it's just not going to happen. First of all, they're not booked anywhere. Second of all, I've never seen these people attend a comedy show as a fan or go to an open mic, aside from whatever this fucking Hungry Tiger thing was. So, like, I don't know how you are the king of CT comedy or whatever the fuck, the leader of this group of misfits when I have been around the scene for 3 years and I've never fucking seen you. Like,
but the thing that's strange to me, Vince, is in all this he was getting angry, saying that he's a headliner, he deserves this, he deserves that. It's like, well, it's just like, if you're a headliner, why are you getting so upset about an open mic at a dive bar?
Do you know what headliners never say? I'm a headliner. It's one of those things where you don't have to walk into a bar and go, I play in the NFL. They just know.
Yeah.
If you come in and you're a headliner, people know you're the fucking headliner. I guess we should back up and just let everybody know this started over a stupid fucking open mic where...
Well, just to change gears for a minute, the fact that he said, like, you don't have to walk into a place and say you're in the NFL reminds me of something really funny that happened the last time I was at the Shish. So, I don't know if you noticed, but there's this breathtaking woman that goes to, like, all of the shows at the Shish.
I mean, there's a lot. Those Persian ladies are pretty.
Well, this woman... I ended up approaching her, talking to her for a little while, and she says, you should come to this cigar bar in Berlin. And I'm like, I'm all for it. I ended up, getting her number and going over to this cigar bar in Berlin with Nick James. Now, we pull up to this... We pull up to
the
this...
ultimate wingman!
Nick is a good wingman because I feel like I'm more funny and charismatic by comparison.
Oh, that's a move. Holy shit, you're right. Wow, continue.
Anyway, so we get there. Sorry, I didn't mean to drag you down, Nick. If
we're
you're
just
listening.
Gonna drag everybody. No, I like Nick, but he knows.
He knows
he's probably autistic and definitely not good talking to women and just needs to practice.
But it turns out I didn't need a wingman because when we get there, it's all black dudes that are hanging out at this the cigar bar. And we get there, and the guy running the front desk, sells us cigars. We're hanging out talking. I'm like, I wonder where this woman is. We end up sitting in the cigar bar, just chilling, talking to the guys in there, bullshit for a little bit. She ends up walking in, and we start talking. I start talking to the guy that's running the desk, and he goes, and she goes, well, this is my husband. And I'm like, oh, whoa,
hey,
whatever. But it's all good because it's just met the person. Like, what the hell difference does it make?
Yeah.
And she goes, this is my husband, and it turns out he's an NFL player. To Bucky Jones, he was one of the he was one of the New England Patriots.
I'm just gonna say he was a Patriot. Holy shit!
But I ended up talking to him for a little while, puffing this cigar, and it turns out he's a really fucking cool guy, man.
So you slept with him instead of her?
I was definitely more smitten by him than her by the end of the night, for sure.
I always wondered if pro athletes, if all of them gave out gift bags after you sleep with them, if it's just A-Rod and Derek Jeter.
There's something about being a professional athlete that's done with the game and running their own business. I just look at that like that's the American dream. Well, you know what I mean?
It's such a strange thing because if you notice, if you succeed in one business, even moderately, you can easily, or more easily than a civilian person, jump to another industry. So if you're a pro athlete and all of a sudden, you want to be a pro wrestler, or you want to sing, or you want to rap, or you want to open a restaurant, not only do you have the funds to do it, you have the celebrity or the clout where you can contact the best producers for your music or the best chef to run your restaurant, and you have a higher chance of succeeding because you've already gained celebrity in another medium.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do that and be on, my goal was always to be on one episode of Doctor Who or the Power Rangers, and then just ride that selling autographs at conventions the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying because if it's Doctor Who or Power Rangers, I totally see what you're saying because now you're not the guy going to Comic-Con as a fan. You're the guy going to Comic-Con sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
The Next Generation, Star Trek The Next Generation cast, they get to go there, people charge, they charge $75 a photo. Friggin' old-ass Patrick Stewart collects his checks.
Yeah.
It's a good gimmick, man. I just think that, that's like the lowest level of success is being on some crappy sci-fi show and then signing autographs and charging money. But, like, you can...
It's not nothing, though.
Right, exactly. But that's like stand-up comedians ended up being better podcasters than so-called radio DJ guys. You know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan, Bill Burr, they were the ones that set the stage for comedians to succeed at podcasting rather than, like, Greg Opie Hughes from the Opie and Anthony show, who fucking stinks. Right. You know what I mean? I love Opie and Anthony, but he was the weakest link. So what I mean is, like, he was a professional broadcaster guy, and you can see it, like, Sam Roberts. I don't really like him. But then you have, like, Jim Norton, Anthony Cumia, and they're just, like, they're comedians that are, like, more laid back. They're not trying to do I'm a professional broadcast. Like, I can do that voice. Anybody can do that voice. But, like...
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry I don't have
coffee
for you.
That's fine. I just realized I went through the whole thing. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, we sucked down these coffees fast, bro.
Yeah. You're listening to Burning Bridges with Kevin Brennan? No. So listen, I just want to briefly explain. We're not just complaining about this guy from the Connecticut Comics Group. There was a catalyst behind this. He ran an open mic at a venue. And the venue there was some coronavirus thing. I don't know what fucking...
I like how you just want to dive back in.
Because I just want to settle it. Because I like settling things.
Well, you are hosting the show at the Shish tonight, so I feel like you're the guy. You're the guy to settle.
But first of all, I feel like, not that I'm an elder statesman because I have no experience here, but I'm older. I'm 34. I'm of a little bit different generation than the younger kids. Where, like, they just talk shit to each other online, and I'm like, I grew up where if you talk shit to somebody on AOL Instant Messenger, you saw them the next day and they punched you in the fucking face. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't get into... I don't like online arguments. That drama shit isn't my favorite. But anyway, he dropped this gig due to, like, coronavirus, whatever it was. He dropped it.
You know what? You're kind of fascinating though, because on one hand you're like this like opera singer guy who's like that's like kind of like a nerdy profession almost, but then you're like, I don't let nerds talk shit to me on the internet. Like,
I see. Here's the thing. I grew up on. I told this joke last night. I grew up on the line between Hartford and West Hartford, and I went to school with a lot of West Indian and Puerto Rican kids. And one day when I was 8, they said, "What are you?" I said, I'm Italian. My family's from Sicily. And they're like, oh, Italian, Puerto Rican, it's the same thing. And then I was part of the group. So it was like, I went to, like, teenage dance clubs and shit like that and hung out with the kids. And, like, I played ball in Hartford. I'd go down to Pope Park and play basketball. Like, I was lucky enough to have a diverse upbringing where I hung out with not just kids of my own ethnic background, but a lot of others. And that was one of the things is, like, still to this day, I've got friends who just don't take shit like that, and it's just that's part of that old school, Hartford upbringing, like Charter Oak Terrace upbringing, where like it's just you don't tolerate that kind of thing. Where it's like I can be I'm trying to be a more calm, centered, sensitive person and really express myself through my arts and my music rather than raging out on people. But yeah, if I'm pushed to that level, then yeah, there's just it. I don't know. It's either the Irish temper, the Italian temper, or like the Italian respect thing. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
No, you just reminded me of one of my favorite lines of Sophia in The Golden Girls when she slaps Blanche's nephew. I was just watching this the other day. She slaps Blanche's nephew, and she goes, "Is that all you Italians know how to do? Is hit and yell and scream?" And she goes, "Well, we also know how to make love and sing opera."
Yeah. That's true, man. Like it's one of those things because I tack that joke with Sicily and Puerto Rico are similar because they're both islands full of brown people that want to stab you. So
okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Sicilian knife fight.
Well, it's funny. My mother actually, full Italian,
yeah.
But my grandparents like took their kids. And raised them in Puerto Rico. So from my time, my mother was like a little girl to when she was like almost like a teenager, she lived in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's very cool because like I don't know, I've always felt growing up that the Italians, I always felt a certain kinship with the Hispanic, Puerto Rican, with Greeks because they're right next door. Even like. The Jewish people I know, it's kind of the same thing. You love your mother, the family dinners, the guilt, it's just one's Jewish guilt and one's Catholic guilt. It's shades of the same thing. But yeah, I always kind of felt a connection between the Italians and the Latino community.
Yeah.
Especially with the New York. Italians were in New York. They were kind of there first, and then the Hispanics came in, and that's just been a melding of cultures up there. So,
well, now I kind of want to get back into talking about the whole thing with that happened with Brian.
I just want to, because here's I feel ignorant because all I did, honest to God, all I did was laugh, react at a couple things, and say I fucking love Matt Heath. That's all. I didn't say anything else. I didn't insult the guy. All I did was laugh, react at a couple things, say I love you because you were bringing back a fucking open mic that was shut down for 6 months.
This is the thing I want to talk about, and it's. You're going to kick me off of CT Comics, that's fine. If you feel like I stole that mic from you, that's fine too. It's like, I didn't steal anything. I was offered a position, I took it. Like, there's no reason to act like a baby about it. Now, if you want to go after me and kick me off of your little group, that's fine with me. But you're going to go after other people? Like, that I didn't understand.
Yeah, because he lashed out, and then JT. I wish I took screenshots so I could go back and read them now. But JT Moore had some shit to say to him that was very real, and I think he kind of took that to heart. Where again, we're all. I treated that group the same I would treat hanging out at a comedy show where people are kind of jokers and make light of stuff even if it's difficult stuff, but it's still. Yeah. We're still working. It's still the business side. Again, it seems like it got real personal and almost like he took it to that level. Because even when I posted about opening my studio, my recording studio, he's like, oh, the coronavirus numbers, and all he would put was the percentages and all this shit. Well, guess what? The percentage is under 2% now, so I'm going to open my fucking studio and I'll charge you double, motherfucker. I don't care. I just don't understand. He is absolutely within his rights as a citizen of the United States and a mature adult who has thought this through, that if he believes that he is immunocompromised or ill or of a high-risk group, that if he doesn't want to attend open mics or host an open mic in an area where he believes is unsafe for him and his wife, then he absolutely has the choice to stay home and not attend those events. What he doesn't have is he has the fucking temerity to call you out and say that you stole something from him when it was something that he gave up. That would be like if I dropped change on the ground and walked 2 blocks down the street and you picked it up and I go, you stole my change! You robbed me! No! You fucking threw it out, you dropped it. I don't know. So that's kind of my perspective of it. I don't know if I'm just drawing lines where there aren't any. So what? I don't. What's your?
I don't really take issue with him getting upset that I'm taking over the mic. If he's upset about it, that's whatever.
He should be upset about that. Yeah.
It's the fact that you're gonna take it to another level by going after me and going after other people.
Yeah.
For bullshit, basically.
Right. It's. And that's the thing. I know. Listen. Laugh reacts and care reacts and all that shit. You can use them very sarcastically on Facebook, and I do. I'll give a care react to something that you shouldn't give a care react to. But, hijinks like that shouldn't disqualify somebody from a Facebook group of comics. Obviously, this shit's a joke. One comment, he goes, everybody stop laugh reacting. And everybody laugh react. What are you doing? Why would you say stop it? That's calling attention to it.
That's almost a little fascist, though, too.
Oh, yeah?
Just because you're the guy that runs the group, you're going to tell people to stop laughing?
Yeah.
It's a group of comedians.
No laughing in this comedy group. Comedy is serious business, didn't you hear? Holy shit. That's what I don't get. Listen, I know hyperbole is part of being a comedian, and I may have said a few things on this podcast that seem like I'm going to straight up just go whoop somebody's ass. I'm not going to. But I can tell you that if I ever see certain people that I have issues with, I'm going to try to at least talk to them and try and get this settled. Because honestly, I've never met the fucking guy. I don't know why he has a problem with me or feels like he needs to instigate things.
I think a part of it is people he's never met, he acts like have never accomplished anything.
Right. And I mean, I'm nobody in the sense, but also you know, I've.
But you're out on a tonight, like today, for instance, and yesterday during the middle of a fucking snowstorm. You're out there working.
Yeah.
So to kick you out of a group that's supposed to be CT Comics, it's supposed to be a group of It's I think the whole reason I even went out and did what I did was to point out that, like, he is running that group like a fascist.
Oh, yeah, no, it absolutely is. You know, Mr. Liberal, AOC, all this horseshit stuff, and then, you know, it's like that whitest kid you know. Are we the bad guys? Yeah, bro. Like, what the fuck? Spent all this time being anti-fascist, and you're the fucking fascist. I don't know.
I think that's a part of being liberal nowadays too.
Oh man, we're really gonna we can't get into politics. I can't. I would really burn every bridge.
But there's something I don't get about how there's this millennial mentality where it's like certain people will like scream their opinions in your face,
right,
and then act like. You know, like, I don't know.
It's a validity thing where they believe that their argument is valid, so they're allowed to scream it from the rooftops. But if somebody has a differing opinion, even if they say it moderately, they're painted as some kind of extremist. Yeah, it's just it's a strange thing that I've seen because, like, I'm young enough to where, like, you know, I have Twitter and Instagram and all that bullshit. Like, I'm up on social media and current technology and shit, but also, like, I grew up playing in the fucking dirt. Like, we just would, you know, play wiffle ball in the backyard and shit, and didn't get internet until I was 8 or 10 years old. You know what I mean? So, like, I grew up in a different era.
No, that's around the same time. Like, dude, when I was a kid, like, we didn't have a computer in the house until I was almost a teenager.
Yeah, and that was really when it took off. Like, when that when Comcast finally put, like, cable internet in, because, you know, dial-up, you would wait forever to download a song or a picture or whatever, and it would take up your phone line. It was a pain in the ass. The cable internet really changed things and it made the world smaller and allowed everybody to interact, but it also, by making the world smaller, there's a perception out there now that your opinion is just as valid or more valid than anybody else's because you have a social media account, and that's not the case.
But everybody has, you know what I really don't understand is, like, people that are, you see so many people on television talking about, like, oh, like, there's certain people that, like, can't get, I know this is kind of getting off topic, like, can't get vaccinated because they don't have access to the internet and yada, 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 where it's like, well, it's like, aren't they bringing these vaccines to local pharmacies that anybody can walk into and get one? For one thing. But then the other thing is, don't you, like, any person that walks into a cell phone store could get a cell phone that's a smart phone now for free and just has to pay the you know, the monthly service for it? It's like the internet is free now. Yeah. Everyone has it.
Or you can go to a library or somewhere, or, you know, you have a relative. Here's the thing. I feel like there's some sort of perception that certain ethno groups and certain age groups don't have the means, the ability, or the technological know-how to do all this. Which, first of all, age-wise, I get it. There might be some people who have aged out of learning new things and don't want to learn how to use a computer or a smartphone. But then it's like, oh, well, certain communities are like, they can't get it because, well, they're just so dumb they don't know how. It's like, wait a minute, these are grown people. It was like that video of Steven Crowder where he interviewed African American people and people of color and asked them if they knew where to go register to vote, because that was the perception among liberals, is like African Americans don't know where to go register to vote and don't know where to vote. And it's like it's still racist. It's just a different version of racism. It's like, oh no, we're gonna help you because you're still dumb. You know what I mean? It's like and they interviewed Crowder didn't, and I'm not going to, you know, simp for Crowder or, you know, what's his name, little Benji there. I'm not going to simp for any of these guys. But he did a video, and the people are like, no, this is silly. He's like, what do you think of the studies that say African American people don't know where they go to register to vote? It's like, no, that sounds not right, because, like, we have access to the same technology and all this other shit that you do. To say that that one community or another isn't capable enough to do something as simple as register to vote or register to get a vaccine is, like, a very weird kind of, like, I'm championing for you, but it's because I feel like you're lesser than me kind of thing. I don't know. Politics is so nuanced that it's hard to break it down into sound bites.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, it's hard to talk about politics even on a podcast because anybody could take what you say out of context and like...
Right, they clip that 10 seconds that makes you look like a real asshole, and then that's the only thing people hear, but whatever, man.
Which is probably what Brian Borganier is planning.
Oh, man, he's just going to chop this whole thing. It's going to be like, you know when they... What was that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's on trial and they take the testimony and chop up the video and you see the clock changing in the background? I hit it. Yeah, like so it's just going to be that. It's just going to be all this awful stuff. No, I think we said, we said our piece. First of all, again, please, Chris Warren, don't take anything I said the wrong way. I was trying to clear the air here and I hope that was acceptable. And if it's not, again, that's... Not my
I think you guys are potential friends.
That's and again, he doesn't. He can be. He has every right to be mad at me and not be my friend, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand that, but I still respect him as a comedian. Think he's very good, and even if he does not want to be friends, I would still like to be acquaintances or at least cordial to the point where we can work together in the future because the potential of people working together is greater than people working individually. That's my piece.
I feel like every comedian should have a podcast because I feel like it trains you. It's important to like be able to hash shit out and talk about nothing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We bounced around. I mean, we talked about fucking Hot Topic and all kinds of goofy shit, and then we got back to the topic at hand. We always kind of circled back. And I feel bad because I feel like we're burying people on this podcast, but also like I don't feel bad because like. You make choice, like people made a choice. I know we made a choice.
Why should you feel bad when you got buried yourself, though? You got kicked off of the page.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
And I could just be like, "Fuck that guy," and like, yeah, fuck that guy. But like, I'm not gonna, I would like my ultimate goal here is that one of these days, when the coronavirus infection rate is at 0 or whatever it takes for Brian and Kate to come out of their, hobbit hole or wherever they are. 6 weeks after Groundhog Day.
They live in Salem, Connecticut, so it basically is a hobbit hole over there.
I get it. Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is like they're in isolation. That's their choice. When there's a time that they feel comfortable to start attending shows again, I would like to speak with them and not have because there's nothing I hate more than going to an open mic or a show and seeing somebody there that you had an argument with, and then you're like, is this awkward? Are we gonna get into like I got a show? I don't want to think about this while I'm thinking about my show and preparing my set. Like I don't want that. I just want to be able to be like, dude, what's your fucking problem? And then if he comes to me, well, what's your fucking problem? Then at least we have it out. But this passive-aggressive online bullshit, that's not how
Salem, Connecticut really is a hobbit hole, though. Let me just paint you a picture real quick. Let me just paint you.
It's going to shit on a whole town now. All right, we've gone from individuals to...
One time I took animated cells. They were actual animated photographs or animated... works from the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven. I brought him into the pawn shop in Salem. The guy was like, basically gave me one look, was like, we don't take kindly to your types, rat.
Oh my God. We went back. It's like going to
Bristol. There's a little hyperbole there.
You were trying to sell
He didn't even want to look at him.
I mean... That's weird. As a collector, I would have at least given him a look.
Yeah, at least give him a look.
Done a little research, see if there was a good offer you could make. I mean, it's not like you came out with some obscure fucking.
I think I may have took that a little too far. He was like, we don't take godly to your taps around here.
You're queer.
But you could try the toy vault in London.
Oh, there you go. So he actually gave you. So there's still a little bit of the polite in there where he gave you a recommendation. He's like, "No, get the fuck out of my building." Yeah, but you didn't come in with something obscure. You came with All Dogs Go to Heaven. That's a pretty well-known...
It's a well-known movie, and it was an actual item used in the production of that movie.
I have an animation cell from when I joined... This is really... I mean, we're talking about me being a nerd. I joined what they called Star Wars Hyperspace, which was a fan club when I was like 15. And one of the perks for joining... You paid money to join. They gave you a free T-shirt, which I still wear. And they gave you an animation cell... from the cartoon that they made of the Ewoks.
Yeah.
So I have it's not.
Did you buy those on the same website that I got the All Dogs?
No, but I know what website you're talking
because
about.
I saw those too. I was thinking about buying those myself.
Yeah, I got one animation frame. It was really just a background frame, but it was still cool because it was the actual one that was used, and I still have it. But Yeah, I've looked on those websites to get like animation cells and frames. There's that mini museum, and they sell a piece of the brick from where the Beatles first performed in England, the club.
In Liverpool?
Yeah, so they have a piece of that, whatever the club is in Liverpool. It's a piece of the brick.
That's similar to a gift I got my aunts for Christmas. They took apart the stage at Woodstock. They chopped up all the wood and they made it into like jewelry.
Oh, that's cool.
I got one of my aunts a necklace with it was like a peace sign necklace in silver, and the other aunt I got her a pen that she could use that was made from the stage at Woodstock.
Great.
Yeah.
That's a nice little collectible. I love shit like that. I love little tchotchkes and shit like that.
Well, you gotta get gifts like that around Christmas because then it's like you have something else to talk about other than fucking politics and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I got my dad dirt from Yankee Stadium from, like, Derek Jeter's last game or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's fucking awesome. Like, just little pieces, like, sometimes you go on, like, Steiner Collectibles and they'll have, like, baseballs signed by, like, not necessarily the main players of a Yankee team, but, like, some lower-level guys, and they're pretty cheap, and I'll just buy a bunch of those and give, like, their autographs and memorabilia and stuff are nice gifts, man.
See, if you're willing to think dirt from Yankee Stadium is cool, then like when I was talking about the fucking cigar bar with Tabucky Jones,
that's like the live version.
It's like you're not really paying for a cigar; you're paying for the experience of like hanging out with someone who broke through to the other side, and in the world of athletics,
it's so hard to do, to break through. And I mean, it's the same thing with comedy or any entertainment. Arts, entertainment, and sports are all very tied together in that it takes not just the ability. You have to stand out in some way, whether it's through talent or gimmick or character or the way you present yourself. You have to stand out, and then still, from all of that, only 1% of 1% succeed and make it to the quote-unquote big time.
Right. Well, comedy. I do equate comedy with baseball a lot because it's like, think about how many people love baseball and fucking play baseball and their whole lives were baseball, but never fucking made it to the big time.
Oh, absolutely, man. It was it's always like my dad played Little League. His team won like the Connecticut championship when he was younger, and he still played like baseball and softball and stuff until he was, decided to stop doing those things in his older years. He's not dead or nothing. He's just decided to stop doing that shit. He bowls now. But what I'm saying is, like, he always had that love for baseball. Even now, we watch baseball games, and he'll point out shit about the pitcher or the way that the infielders are lined up or whatever the fuck that I didn't necessarily see because he's still got an eye for all of that stuff. And even the same thing with football. Like, he'll look at, the way everybody's lined up, and he'll pretty much call the play before it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, then 1% of 1%, because he could have been he was an athlete. What I'm saying, he could have been a pro athlete. He could have been a broadcaster because he knows so much about it. But it's like that 1% of 1% makes it to the top.
Well, it's like it when you think about it, it's like even like the dingiest like dive bar where there's an open mic and there's nobody in the audience, and it's just like a guy doing his craft for the bartender and whatever, like old guys getting drunk in the corner. Right. That's like the equivalent of just like two people having a game of catch. You know what I mean? Where it's like you watch like Louis C.K. sell out Madison Square Garden. Right. That's fucking the World Series. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there are different levels to success. I feel like you can't just look at it and go, well, I'm not at Madison Square Garden yet, therefore I am a failure. Like, I've really only been doing this seriously for the last year or so, but
I don't even know if Louis C.K.'s ever done Madison Square Garden.
He might. I saw him at Oddball that year, the year Dave Chappelle
came back out on stage. I was there too.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I was 1 year into doing comedy at that point.
Yeah, that Oddball. I went like 2 or 3 years in a row. That was a fun.
I was there the year before that too when Dave Chappelle got booed off the stage. And what happened was I started doing comedy a week later because I figured like, hey, if Chappelle can handle getting booed by like hundreds of people, like I could go into a little nightclub and tell my jokes. Like, why not?
Exactly, man. I'm glad you took the initiative. A lot of people don't do it. That's the first step. Is like a lot of people want to do something. If you don't get off the couch to do it, you won't actually, progress. And just like you said, you start off at the fucking open mics where it's just 20 comics telling the same fucking 5 minutes for for however long until you make it to a little bit bigger show. And it's just set goals for yourself that are not giant reaches, because then you don't want to overextend yourself, but set reasonable goals to jump from, okay, I've been doing open mics for so long, I want to be the headliner of a show here. All right, I want to move up to a bigger venue. I want to go to comics. I want to go work, New York Comedy Club in the city. Set little goals for yourself that you can celebrate along the way, rather than just going, okay, well, I performed at New York Comedy Club, but I didn't perform at Madison Square Garden, therefore I'm a failure. Even though fucking 80% of the people never get to the point of even headlining a club.
Right.
Positive mental attitude. As much as a miserable old cunt I am, positive mental attitude.
Well, PMA, like old Matt Foley.
That's right. God damn. How do you pull up? All right, because I'm a little bit older. How do you pull up these old references? Like, because I look at you and I go, you seem like a young guy, and that you pull for like you reference like the Golden Girls. You got the Welcome Back Hot. This is all shit that I knew when I was growing up.
Yeah. Like
Laverne and Shirley, Shamil Shamazal, Hassan Pfeffer Incorporated. Nobody knows that shit anymore. But like.
Yeah, but I just love old television, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
Pluto. You tried Pluto TV yet?
No,
it's
no.
free. It's a free app. It's on like consoles and it's on your phone. And shit.
I'm just diving into Hulu, man. Like,
oh yeah,
Hulu's got so much on it.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Now, instead of me plugging Hulu, before we go off, why don't you? Do you got anything you want to plug or promote?
Sure. So, I've got. It's a burp. First of all, excuse me. We'll fix that in post. No. My social media is at OSnapVince, OHSNAPVINCE. I'm on most social media platforms. I still have a Twitter, but I very infrequently use it. I want to start Twitch streaming, so it's the same username, OSnapVince. Just go and hit the button. If you get enough subscribers, you can become a partner to earn money streaming. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've only got about 2,000 subscribers. It would be nice to have more. Try and monetize that as well. Basically, just, if you look for the username at OSnapVince anywhere online, you should find one of my media platforms. I don't just post comedy stuff and pictures of my cats. I play music, play guitar, I sing. I'll post some songs and stuff. And, if I collect some new things, a Funko Pop or another toy or a collectible, I post about that. I found a $15,000 Charizard in an old binder the other day, so every so often you'll see a post about something like that. I haven't sold it yet, so if anybody would like to buy a very, very high quality Charizard or any holographic Pokemon, I've got a whole bunch from the classic sets. So I don't know. That's kind of my thing. I just collect a lot of shit and post about it online, and yeah.
I think my mom threw out my Pokemon cards one day.
My mom was one of those people where she's like me. She's like, you don't know if it's going to be worth money in the future, so we'll just put it in like a box, and at the very least, maybe his kids will play with it if they're not worth money. So she's like, I'll just keep them. So like my old Power Rangers toys and shit. I don't know. I've still got a whole bunch of horse shit, and then I collect more and more stuff. But
all right, well, can you sing a little opera for us?
Let's see. What am I trying to think about? What kind of maybe I can get, if I can get the words to this song.
All right.
Do it.
Just bear with us, folks. All right. You already got it?
I think I might have found the lyrics if I can.
All right. Awesome. This is a 1,000 comics first.
I know. Oh, I got to put lyrics in, don't I? I do. I have to put lyrics in because otherwise it was a.
Yeah.
It gets you a video of somebody singing it, and that would be not quite as impressive.
Yeah. We don't want that.
Oh no, there it is.
All right.
Danza, danza, fanciulla, al mio cantar. Danza, danza, fanciulla, gentile, al mio cantar. For you?
It's a little opera.
Little opera.
Little opera.
And if you want something for your inner white girl, when I was a young boy, my father would take me to the city to see a marching band. All right, there you go. That's
all right, hey. Now sing all of Rent. No, I'm just kidding.
525,600 minutes. Do whatever you want, man. I'll come back and sing some shit for you. I don't give a shit, man.
Hey,
Have a good
Vince,
time.
thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you for
man.
having me. I'd love to come back. I hope it really isn't really awkward that Haley's episode is before mine. I don't have any heat with anybody except maybe Brian and Kate, but we'll figure that out.
All right.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Hey, I'm coming to the show tonight, so.
Oh, excellent.
All right.